Pops. Welcome back, everyone. Today on the Playbook, we're going to get into the Wildcard weekend preview, inside on playoff matchups. And I got my Pops and David McCants with me here today. Good friend of mine. Let's get into it, boys. We got everybody here.
Hey,
All right, there we go.
hey.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey,
Hey,
David.
let's get right into it. The first one I want to start off with is this Cowboys and Packers matchup because a lot of history here. Okay. Last three games of the year, Packers won, so they're coming in hot. And I really wanted to talk about the last two times these guys have played in the playoffs. Obviously, it's a little different now. Packers don't have Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so in the previous matchups, 2014, there was that whole debacle with Dez caught it. Cowboys fans still swearing to this day. I know it hurts Cowboys fans. And 2016, Rodgers rolling out on 3rd and 20, making that 35-yard pass to Jared Cook to get a field goal to end up icing the game. And it's been kind of the kryptonite for the Cowboys in the playoffs. But this year looks a little bit different, different quarterback for the Packers now. And this Cowboys team seems to be a little bit more for real than in years past. And so let's jump into that. I wanted to go to you, David, and ask you what's different this year about this Cowboys team.
I would say the biggest difference this year with the Cowboys is going to be consistent quarterback play. Dak's having a career year, 36 touchdown passes, 38 total touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. It seems like he's had a pretty consistent career overall as far as his consistency and not being turnover prone, but he had a down year last year, came in this year. The West Coast system seems to really fit his athletic ability, his play style. CeeDee Lamb is having an all-pro year. I mean, it's debatable if you look at the numbers between him and Tyreek, who the number one receiver this year was. Our run game is not exactly where it needs to be, but I think that is tributes to offensive linemen being in and out of the lineup. Defensively, I think our cornerback play is going to be a huge difference. In previous years, Diggs was there, but they didn't have anybody opposite him. And Deron Bland leading the league with 9 interceptions this year, and bringing in Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year, all-pro corner. I think that just makes a world of a difference in terms of what the Cowboys are going to do differently this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you there. Yeah, I just wanted to say, Pops, before we transition to you, I wanted to mention Dak made it a point this year, going into the year, didn't want to throw at least 10 interceptions, and he's been more efficient. And, but it does look like a different Cowboys team. And so I wanted to go to you, Pops. Do you think this is a different year or just more of the same?
Yeah, I think it's a different year so far. I mean, they're at home, where they're unbeaten this year at home, so they're devastating at home. I mean, if anybody can beat them, but history shows it would be the Packers could do it. I mean, Jordan Love, you look at him, he's thrown 18 touchdowns to 1 interception in his last 8 games. That's crazy. And but Jerome Blanton. Anyway, he's been hit or miss. He's been playing he's getting a lot of interceptions, but when he doesn't get them, he's giving up a lot of yards. So I think it comes down to the Cowboys' run defense, really. It's been a little shaky lately, but definitely offensively, they got everything. Their run game hasn't been as good as usual, but I think McCarthy's going to feature a little more in the playoffs. I think that's what he said. He wanted to feature a little more.
And that's a big deal because the Packers have the 28th run defense in the league.
Exactly.
I was looking at it as far as yards allowed for run defense. They're 28th. The Cowboys are 1st in points per game and 5th in points per game allowed. So they're top of the board just about almost every statistical category, offense and defense, and they bring a very balanced approach. And if they can get the run game going, I think they'd be dang near unbeatable, especially at home. And McCarthy, that's another storyline too this week, as you got him coming in to play his old team, Green Bay. He was coaching them in those years. They beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. And, speaking of funny storylines, with a head coach having a little rematch, it's this Rams-Lions game upcoming. We got Sean McVay coaching against his old quarterback, Jared Goff, who we had in his first few years coaching in LA. They ended up shipping him off for Matthew Stafford, who now still has a chance to get a win in Detroit for the playoffs, which he never could do over there. But it's going to be a very interesting game. This is a whole different Lions team. They're very balanced, very well coached team by Dan Campbell. And so there's a lot of interesting storylines going into there. And what do you think about this one, David? Who you got in this one?
I think that this is probably not only the most intriguing game as far as storylines. I think stylistically, it's probably one of the best games of the weekend. It's outside of the Cowboys-Packers game, just a little biased there.
Yep.
But the Rams-Lions should be very, very interesting. I don't know if we're doing picks today, but what I will say is the Rams are coming in very hot, coming off of their bye week. Stafford was hurt, came back healthy. They seem to have found a run game. Defensively, they've tightened up a bit. They're not top tier by any means, but they still have Aaron Donald, who is extremely disruptive. And as far as the Lions are concerned, I think the Lions have been extremely impressive. As we talked about in the previous week, just top to bottom, they've really built an awesome program there. But coming off of watching them play the Cowboy game, I find that they're a lot more balanced than I thought. And defensively, they're a lot better than I thought. So it should be a good one.
Yeah, I see a comment here from Patrick Easterday. He says script writers cooked. And, I could agree with that one right there. They're definitely hoping for this matchup, the NFL. But, talking about Aaron Donald and disruption there, it also brings up another guy who's really come along on this Rams defensive line, who's making a case for Defensive Rookie of the Year and making an impact, Kobe Turner. Alan, Pops, you got anything to say about him and that Rams team?
Oh, yeah, he's leading all the defensive linemen, rookie defensive linemen in sacks with 9. And, of course, he's got his mentor, Aaron Donald, with him. In fact, he tied the Rams record for sacks for defensive tackle. Donald's record, actually. Tied Donald's record. And the Rams run defense has gotten a lot better lately. And it's their secondary just giving up big plays. Like people aren't even around them. Some of these receivers are wide open down the sidelines. It's happened way too many times. And so that's going to be the key. If we can stop the Lions run game, then the Rams got a chance. They make Stafford throw it, and Stafford, Goff, he would rather run the ball a lot. But Stafford, he's been hot. 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions during that 8-1 run, 7-1 run. He's been crazy. And it's all because of our run game. So if Detroit can stop our run game, we can stop their run game, it's going to come down to quarterbacks. And this is a toss-up game.
Yeah.
Anybody can win.
It really is. Yeah, especially with Detroit being as tough as they are at home. And Jared Goff, if he can get the run game going, everybody knows Jared Goff is a completely different quarterback when he has play action going for him. When he has play action going for him, he's one of the top-tier quarterbacks in the league when that's going for him. I want to just say that. But he is a really good quarterback. He's come on since being in Detroit with a team that believes in him. And another thing that's interesting to mention is Sam Laporta injured last game.
So that's a big one. That's a really big one.
St. Brown also hurt his ribs, so who knows how healthy he'll be going into this one. I imagine he's going to play for sure, but there's some question marks there going into this next game, and Rams relatively healthy, and 7 their last 8. So
the thing is, the Rams are so young. I mean, they got about 4 rookies starting on their defense that 3 or 4. They got about 5 rookies starting offense and defense, and should be interesting to see how they do in the first taste of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a fun one Sunday night. What else could you ask for right there?
Yep.
Another one that I wanted to bring up while we're talking ball is Dolphins Chiefs. You know, Dolphins are really banged up right now. You know, you want to talk injuries. Dolphins, they've been going through the ringer as the season has went on. And so I just want to talk about them going into this game. They're down to, I think, 2 healthy edge rushers after the last one against Buffalo. Going into Kansas City with that weather, I mean, it's gonna be a tough one. As bad as Kansas City's been this year, what do you think, David? You think Dolphins they got a shot?
No shot, brother. No shot, brother. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the worst I've seen the Chiefs play, and I don't know how many years. Matter of fact, since Patrick Mahomes has been there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And even before that, the first year that Alex Smith was there, they were still a really good team. So this has definitely been a down year. I think Isaiah Pacheco, if he is healthy, they're gonna run the ball. Travis Kelce off the play action. Maybe they get the receivers involved early. You know, confidence is a big thing for receivers. Get them a couple easy catches.
Get them in rhythm.
And then just play complimentary ball. You know, Mahomes, no mistakes. And defensively, they are still top tier. I don't see how the Dolphins go up there with the type of offense that they play. I don't see them going up there and really taking off like they normally do when they're at home.
Yeah.
The Chiefs at home, I mean, let's just look at the history. That's one of the loudest stadiums, not one of the loudest. It is the loudest stadium in the NFL. And they're going to be rocking, man. Tua,
sure
I anticipate will have a solid game. Tyreek really wants to, come back and stick it to the Chiefs, but I think they got too many men down. I think they're just outmatched right now. Tough matchup for the Dolphins. I just see the Chiefs pulling this one out.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate for the Dolphins. I mean, this is the second straight year they've started off super strong, and whether it's injuries, what have you, just not being able to get going late in the season, going into the playoffs. I mean, that last game against the Bills, that divisional game, was a heartbreaker for them. They go from division winners having home field to now having to go in Arrowhead with Tyreek. That's another reunion. Tyreek coming back home, but playing in that weather, coming from Miami to go play in Arrowhead, that's a tough ask. As much as the Chiefs have been struggling all year, and that defense is really playing good, and so they're going to be tough to beat. You see Tua maybe pulling off the upset, Pops?
No, it's the weather's supposed to be 0 degrees this weekend, man.
Right.
Have you seen Miami? They messed up when they lost that game to the Bills and didn't get home field. I mean, that was it. I think that was their playoffs right there against the Bills. And when they lost it, I mean, you're not going to go in a cold weather place. I mean, what they wanted to do was bring teams into the hot weather and let that humidity wear them down. And that's not what's going to happen now. And I would be very surprised. Let's just say I would be very surprised if Miami even makes a game out of this.
Shocked.
But it's the playoffs. Who knows?
It's the playoffs.
But right now, I can't see it happening.
Yeah, and as tough as of the coach as Mike McDaniels is, that's a tough ask, to go all the way into Arrowhead and pull that off, But I want to talk about another team right here. So while we're on the topic of the Dolphins and blowing that big game against the Bills, let's talk Bills because they're at home for the Steelers. And so it's in Buffalo. Who would have thought the scenarios, they could have also missed the playoffs had they not won last week. And then look at them. They got the number 2 seed in the whole playoffs with that win. That was huge.
That was crazy.
So they get to host the Steelers, a Steelers team that really for a bit, people started to question whether they're going to make the playoffs, whether Tomlin was going to get fired, whether he's going to have his first losing season as a coach. And they figure some things out. They get 3 wins playing with Mason Rudolph, just really playing Steelers football, not necessarily beating you. The Steelers football of the last I'd say 6 to 7 years, by the way, which is just not turning the ball over. Not doing anything crazy on offense, running that ball, but not turning it over. They'll throw 3-yard passes all day, but if they can play defense and they can run the ball on you, that's how they want to play. They want to win ugly. And you got this Bills team who has struggled to beat teams like this. Whether it's this year or years past, it just seems like Josh Allen struggles in games like this, in games that they should win. And they've been playing a lot better, though. Steelers won 3 in a row. Bills have won 6 in a row, I believe, to go 11-6. Yeah, no, 5 in a row because they were 6 and 6.
5 in a row, yeah.
Yep.
They got down to
And
6 and 6. Everybody wrote him off after that,
Yep.
and I don't trust Josh Allen. I don't trust him at all. If Pittsburgh keeps it close, there's a decent chance Jared Allen's going to fumble or throw an interception somewhere. But that's the thing is Pittsburgh's got to keep it close. They love to muck up the game, man. Just muck it up and get waiting for that big turnover, and then they can do it.
Yep.
But they're missing Minkah Fitzpatrick. Pittsburgh is. TJ Watt probably won't play this game. I mean,
that was a huge loss.
That was huge for these guys without those guys. But Buffalo, you look at them too. They're missing Tre'Davious White and Micah Hyde in their secondary.
Yep.
So, but Mason Rudolph, I think he turns into a pumpkin in this playoff. I do. I can't believe he made it this far.
And
ever since he took that helmet to the head, man, I don't know. I just didn't think he was going to make a comeback, but he did. Credit to him.
Hey, he did. I think it fixed him. But I just want to be on record. I just want to be on record for saying that Pops has a personal vendetta against Josh Allen. Josh Allen has lost Pops a lot of bets in the past, so I don't think he's going to give Josh Allen credit anyways. But what about you, David? What do you think about this one?
Very physical game. Like you said, Steelers try to muck it up. Mason Rudolph has been playing solid, hasn't made mistakes, and that's the big thing with the Steelers all year.
Exactly,
is they're hit or miss, right? They get the big play, they get up on you. Then T.J. Watt gets 2 sacks, forced fumble. By the way, he should win Defensive Player of the Year. Just saying. Yeah, man, I think, man, it's a tough one because part of me wants to say that the Bills should run them, but for some reason I feel like the Steelers are just well coached, well prepared. I think it's going to be a nail biter. If I were to have to make a pick right now, I'd probably say Bills by field goal. I anticipate Josh Allen probably has a couple of picks. If they had TJ Watt, I think the Steelers have a shot. But I think they'd probably actually win. But I don't think that they can go into Buffalo as hot as Buffalo's been and get a win off of the Bills.
And Minkah Fitzpatrick,
and another
huge loss.
Oh yeah. And another thing to mention is the way we talked about this last week with the Bills, their stylistic change to their offense and their approach and how they played is a lot different than in years past. They're running the football more. And a smaller running back like James Cook going up against a defensive front like the Steelers, it's just a tough ask, and that Steelers defense is tough. And we see we got a question right here. Who do you trust more, Josh Allen or Dak Prescott? That's a good one. What do you think, David?
It's a tough one because both of them have been criticized for their turnover prowess. This year, when they matched up, the Bills washed the Cowboys. But I would say overall this season, Dak has been more consistent. I do think the Bills have probably an easier run to the Super Bowl this year because the AFC, I feel, feels a little bit down. But just to answer the question straight up right now, I'm rolling with Dak. I ain't rolling with Josh Allen with all them picks.
I agree. Dak, at least in this round, I believe is going to have the best this round. I trust him more than Josh Allen. I really don't trust Josh Allen at all. But he has these games where he's just all world, and he has these games where like, what is he doing? What's he thinking? He gets
Yeah.
down on the goal line, he'll throw an interception, he'll lose a fumble. That's where most of his turnovers come, is right down near the goal line when they're getting ready to score. That's crazy.
No, for sure. And I'd have to agree with you guys there. I think Dak has been the more consistent player as the year has went on. Josh Allen, I think, is the more talented guy, overall aspect
More
of it.
upside.
He can definitely, what was that?
I say he
More
has
upside,
more
yes, for
upside for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I just think he has all the talent in the world, but as far as being consistent and keeping you from losing a game, Dak would be that guy right there, as he's been limiting turnovers and been more efficient this year. And we got a question here, which brings us to our Eagles and Buccaneers game that we got
Dallas
coming up.
Aguero, huh?
Asking about revenge on Jalen Hurts from Week 3. Does Baker get his revenge? That's going to be a good one, as the Philly's been struggling, and they get to go into Tampa Bay,
Oh,
and it's going to be a tough one. What do you guys think? Does Baker get his revenge on Jalen Hurts?
I don't know. Right now, I'm not sure that Philadelphia is can win a game. I mean, what, they lost 4 in a row now to Arizona,
Yeah,
to the Giants, and
yeah,
whoever, man.
and then lost to the Cowboys.
They're really struggling. I mean, to be the high caliber team they started out at this year, you got to give them a chance, but I wouldn't put any money on them. That's for dang sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Philly, they've been kind of a team that's gotten away with it through most of the year. You see them squeak out of some games they really had no business winning, but
exactly.
they did. And they squeak out, and you're wondering, when is it going to come where they don't get away with these ones the way they should? And it's starting to see it now. It's a compound effect, and it's happened every single game now where they can't make up for their mistakes.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see a little bit late of a Super Bowl hangover right now, and they are not looking good. They look like they're in shambles. What do you think, David? You think they can figure it out?
Come on, David. You
Oh
like
man,
Philadelphia, right?
this is such a loving moment for me because,
Yeah, I
as you
bet.
said, all year I've been watching them squeak out wins, 3 points
Yeah,
here, 2 points
Barely, barely
here.
beat the Cowboys.
Barely beat the Cowboys. They bragged about it like they won the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
then it all came crushing down. It's the
Whoa.
yeah,
greatest feeling in the world. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They were a good team. I still didn't think they were better than us, but that's okay. They went to the Super Bowl this year without harping too much on them, because they were still 10-1. All jokes aside, they were still 10
Yeah.
and 1. And wins are wins, right?
mhm,
We can say, oh, they barely
yeah,
won, they sat in the third. But what that
yeah,
does, I heard Shannon Sharp say this quote. I think don't want to butcher it, but he said, "You never accept things that you wouldn't accept in a loss and a win." Let me
Yeah.
say that
mhm,
again. You never accept things that you would not accept in a loss and a win, or you shouldn't accept those things. So they were doing things that they shouldn't have been doing all year,
And it caught up to him.
and it caught up to them. And now
yeah,
injuries are starting to get them too. So AJ Brown,
yeah.
I mean, I haven't really heard anything about that as far as him playing. Jalen Hurts hurt his finger. But here's the thing, man. At this point, everybody's hurt, everybody's injured, and no other team gets that excuse. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
roll the big boys out. I hope the Buccaneers wax them, because I think the Bucks are playing really good football right now. But if I were to bet, the Eagles will squeak this one out.
I got to give
And
Philadelphia.
it's
I got to give Philadelphia a little love because my daughter loves them. But other than that, I don't. I mean, they had a players only
yeah.
meeting before this last game. So you see how that worked out. So
And you said Shannon Sharp mentioning the Eagles. Did you see what he said about the Cowboys?
He did. He said the Cowboys are like an ex-girlfriend. He
Yeah,
did. He
they
did.
said they're
But
very pretty, but I don't
yep,
trust them.
you don't trust.
here's the thing, though. This is the thing that I love about the sports commentary, and Shannon specifically. I know when he was on the show with Skip, he had the back and forth banter. But since he's left there,
Mm,
I feel like his commentary is a little less biased. He can acknowledge when the team's playing well. And I think this year, if you just look at overall, um,
mhm,
just on the Eagles topic by itself, he was one of the first people I heard say that they were not playing well when they were winning all those games. And people
Yeah.
were saying, "Oh, he's hating," because nowadays you can't tell nobody the truth. It's just hating, because that's the
Yeah.
terminology nowadays. You're hating instead of
Yeah.
just accepting the facts. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, the Eagles, they're a very talented team. Coaching wise, I don't know what's going on over there. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. You lose 2 coordinators, it's very hard to recover from that. However, the best organizations do. And that's where I feel like they've slipped. Firing your defensive coordinator mid-year and bringing in Patricia, like what has he done?
That's exactly it. Patricia, who would ever? When you start trusting Patricia, you're done. Your defense is done. I mean, Patricia's wow. I just couldn't believe they went that far, man. I mean, now they're just digging themselves deeper. So, yeah.
No, for sure. It's definitely that's definitely desperate times right there. If you're asking Matt Patricia to come in and coach the defense right there. Before we start going too far ahead of ourselves with the question, we'll get to that one right there. But let's talk the last playoff matchup before we get too far. The Browns Texans. You see, you got a Joe Flacco, the vet, coming in, and he's really caught fire for this Browns team, and people are talking about them being one of the hottest teams in the league. And he's really got this Browns team rolling and giving the city of Cleveland some hope. And they're going into Houston to face the rookie and CJ Stroud right there, and he has been balling all year. Beat a tough Colts team, divisional game in the last week of the year, going into the playoffs. Do you think this rookie's got it? Who do you got this week, the rookie or the vet, Pops?
Who they playing again? Texans?
Browns Texans, yep.
Browns Texans.
Flacco versus Stroud.
Well, Stroud's going to have to play Cleveland's defense, which is pretty darn. In fact, the strength of the Browns is their pass defense, actually, their secondary. And if anybody can do it, it'd be the Rook. I mean, Flacco is, when's he going to come back down to earth? He's never been this good. I mean, even in the Super Bowl year, he was all right, but he was not throwing 300 yards every game. He was a running defense kind of guy, quarterback. Now he kind of is again, but he's still throwing for 300 yards. So I don't know if he'll catch up to him or not, but I think this is a really interesting game. The young guns against the older team, the veterans, because Myles Garrett, they get loose. But then look at D'Amico Ryan's defense, man. They're number 2 against the run. So if they can stop
they've
the
struggled
run,
to stay consistent, but they've been really rolling. D'Amico Ryans has got this Texans defense completely flipped around this year. I mean, you look at them; they're pretty inconsistent. They've shown some signs of really breaking instead of bending, but I think for the most part, he's done a phenomenal job with this young team right here. He might win Coach of the Year after beating Shane Steichen to get into the playoffs. But CJ Stroud's really balling right now. I think it's going to be a very close game there in Houston. I look forward to that one too. Flacco's he's still got one of the prettiest spirals you ever see.
Oh yeah, they say
he throws that ball,
he can still spin it, man. He can still spin it.
Yep.
And if they take Amari Cooper out of the game, then what? I mean, Shardarius Ward, they got Ward going against Cooper. That's going to be the matchup to watch, I think. If they can shut down Cooper and make him run the ball, have to run the ball, I think it should get interesting. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, to tell you the truth. Well, fairly low. I think it'd be like 24-20, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come down to who's got the ball last. I really do. I think it's gonna be whether it's high scoring or low scoring. I don't know for sure, but I think it's gonna come down to who's got the ball last. I think it's gonna be a good one. But one of the questions that we have down here, I want to get to that one. Dallas was asking about the Cowboys. If they face the Niners and they go at it again, will a third time be a charm for Dallas?
No. I don't see it at all. I mean, the Cowboys, are great at home. If they had the 49ers at home, I think they have a puncher's chance. But if they play them in San Francisco, they're not good on the road. What are they, 4-5 or 3-6, something like that, or 5-4 on the road, something like that. Dallas is, and they don't play good on the road even against bad teams. So have to go into San Francisco. I'd like to say that they had a chance because I'd like to see Dallas do it. Dallas, I would really like that, but because I'm not a big fan of the 49ers, but you gotta give them their due, man. They're
They're
pretty much
such a sound
unbeatable.
football team.
They are.
And
They're just so physical, so physical.
and I'll say this too, because I was seeing somebody said last time they had played, Dallas had been the bully all year until they faced the Niners, who are really the bully out there, as far as their style of play. And that did kind of sum up how their last matchup went and how it's gone the last few times they played. The Niners are just too physical for them, and Dallas being a very physical team, when they get punched in the mouth like that, it's very tough to beat a team like the Niners. You can't beat them at their own game. But you know
They
what?
don't have any weaknesses. There's no weaknesses.
All year I've been talking about Niners as the favorite team to win it all. I think they're very sound. Yes, that's for sure. But I do think that the Cowboys, I think they got a shot if they see him in San Francisco. I mean, it all depends from here until then. Who knows what kind of injuries we'll have. It's a long season. Everybody knows it comes down to health in the late stretch. But you know what? I do see this Cowboys team, if they can get hot again, get their offense rolling going into there, get their defense together. I think they got a shot. It'd be a good one.
I think the only way they got a chance is they stop their running game, which is going to be really hard. They can stop San Francisco's running game and pressure Purdy. I think they got a chance. But
that's the thing.
Nobody's been able
you
to
got to be
stop
able to
the
control the clock
49ers run
against the
game.
49ers.
Nobody's been able to stop their run game. I mean, sad to say, because I really don't like the 49ers. I would love to see Dallas beat them, or at least a good game anyway. So, hey, you never know, but I wouldn't count on it. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it'd be a tough one. I think Cowboys might be ready for this. Patrick says the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, the world ain't ready. Oh, I
don't think the
don't
Cowboys
even get me started
for this. I mean,
don't even get me started on what Facebook will be looking like, and just everywhere you go, Cowboys win the Super Bowl.
We never
fans,
hear the end of it, man.
And it's been a while.
It's only 3 decades, son. Come on, it hasn't been that long. Just 30 years, 29 years. Give them credit, man.
No, they do look. I will say this though: this Cowboys team does not look like years past, where it seems like they have giant holes in their team. I think this is the most sound and complete football team that the Cowboys have had in years. And I think if any year is their chance to do it, it would be this year.
But they don't have a good run defense. I think that's what's going to beat them is their run defense as Cowboys. But yeah, I'm not sure the world's ready for it. But we think about it, the Cowboys haven't won it in 29 years. But look at the 49ers. They haven't won it in 3 decades either. So one of them, if they play each other, one of them is going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, the Niners have been to the Super Bowl a few times in the last decade and a half, but they haven't been able to win it. Who knows? We might get we might get a rematch of Niners Ravens, the Harbaugh Bowl. We might get a little rematch Niners Ravens, coming into the Super Bowl if favorites win out. But before we wrap up here, let's just go through the games and do a little pick'em style, little pick'em action, before the weekend. Let's go through them. The way we started off, let's go Packers Cowboys. Who you got? Packers plus 7.5 spread, and then straight
up. If you go by the spread, I'd take the Packers, but straight up, I got to go with the Cowboys.
I agree with you there. I think the Packers might keep it a little close, but I think the Cowboys are just too good of a football team. And at home, I think Cowboys honestly might even cover the spread. That's if all goes right for them, I think if Cowboys are rolling, if Cowboys are rolling, it can get ugly real quick Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Rams plus 3.5 at Lions.
Well, it's basically a pick 'em game because they give you 3 points for
Mhm,
a home field,
mhm.
So this is a really tough one. It's a pick 'em game, really. But I would go Rams. Uh
Yeah, you got
Ra-
Rams by spread.
Rams, yeah, I would take the Rams with the spread and Rams straight up. That's just me, but
Rams straight up.
but it's going to be close, man. I don't even know if three
Yeah,
and a
it
half
is
is going
going
to
to be a
cover
close
cut
one.
it. I don't know if 3.5 is going to get them the win and by the spread though. That's how close it's
Yeah.
going to be. I think it's going to come
You
down
know
to
what?
special teams, and sorry to say, the Rams might lose that one.
Yeah, it is 29th in special
Comes
teams
down
this
to a
year.
kick. Comes down to a
You don't
kick.
even get me started. I've never been so frustrated with the special teams unit in my life. Watching those guys sometimes, it's
Yep.
horrendous. But Rams plus 3.5. I do think that it will be a field goal game. I think it's going to be close. I think with the special teams question that the Rams have had, we knew it was going to come back and bite them in the butt. If the Lions get the play action game going and they get Goff in a rhythm early. If they control the clock and get pressure on Stafford, get them out of their run game, out of their rhythm, I think the Lions can win this game. And much as it pains me to say it, I think Rams can cover. It's a toss up, really. I'm not going to definitively say that the Lions are going to win. I think it's going to be a very close one. And honestly, I think that one's also going to come down to who's got the ball last. And
Yep.
so that's going to be a fun one, though, Sunday night.
Heck yeah.
Like, yeah, seeing Carrie Underwood sing that song with the Rams on, woo-wee. I can't wait for that rematch.
Heck yeah.
Let's get to the next. Let's get to the next one. We had covered. It was Dolphins at Chiefs. Dolphins plus 3.5 in Kansas City.
Ah, man, I don't think it's going to be that close. To tell you the truth, I don't know how they only got 3.5. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd take Chiefs. The weather, I don't see Dolphins winning in the weather.
yeah,
I don't see him
and
covering.
that
I
one.
don't see him winning either.
Yeah, I think that one's a pretty easy one. It seems like now. You never know. He might look real dumb. Come talking about it next week, but I think going into Arrowhead, tough place. I think coming from Miami, where it's nice and warm, and then having to go into Arrowhead, I just think it's asking too much. I think the
Way too
Chiefs
much.
match up well with them. Yeah, Chiefs match up very well with them, especially from their matchup earlier in the year. I mean, the Chiefs have the fourth best pass defense, and the Dolphins, that's what they rely on heavily. And with it being that cold, you're gonna have to be able to run the ball. I
And their
mean, who
defensive
knows
line
this?
being hurt.
Yeah, their defensive line, that's tough. I mean, you got to hope that you can run the ball, and Mike McDaniel, the offensive guru right there, can stick to his guns there. Really be disciplined in play calling. And but Isaiah Pacheco, the difference maker right there. They say he runs like he's angry at the ground. They say that's how he runs. I think
Yep.
that's a very good analogy right there. You guys are stud. I got Chiefs as well. Another one we had covered was Steelers and Bills. Steelers are plus 10 in this game.
Oh,
Can you believe that? Plus 10.
plus 10. No, I
Yeah.
don't see that. I would take the Steelers by the spread. I think it's going to be a muck. They're going to muck this game up, and
Mhm.
there's a chance they win it, but it's going to be close. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see Bills winning by 10 points or even close to. I think it's going to be a 3 or 4 point game. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is going to be a close game. It's going to be a very ugly game. I think going to be a lot of defense for sure. It's going to be a cold weather game. All defense. It's going to be a slugfest. Tomlin
Sloppy.
Tomlin's so good at winning ugly. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out with a win here, but I am going to go Buffalo, not by the spread. I'm going to take them to win, but Steelers plus 10 sounds very enticing. It almost sounds like
Heck yeah.
a softball right there. Yeah, I don't understand that. Maybe Vegas is trying to trick us or something, but that don't make no sense to me.
Something's up. There's a conspiracy somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I don't got the script no more. I didn't pay for the premium script. I just got the regular season, so I didn't get the playoff script. I should have.
Yeah.
But next we got Browns minus 2.5 at Texans. Who you got there?
Oh, I'm gonna take the Browns. I am.
Browns.
Yeah. They're minus 2.5, so they're favorites, right?
Yeah.
Browns are favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think their experience, their defense against that rookie quarterback, I'd take him by the spread and straight up. I mean, 2.5's not much at all. A field goal,
It's a pick 'em.
would do it. It's a pick 'em game, really. It's gonna come down to, as you said, who's got the ball last. This is one of those games.
Yeah.
If Texans get the ball last, I wouldn't bet against their quarterback. Tell you that much.
No. And I wouldn't, and that's exactly what I'm not gonna do. Is I'm not gonna bet against him. I'm gonna take CJ Stroud this week. I think he's gonna find a way to get a win for this Houston team. I think his leadership as a young quarterback, I think the team loves to follow the guy. And I think he's gonna bring the best out of all those guys. And I think we're gonna see some rookie magic this week. And I think he's gonna pull one off in Cleveland. It's gonna be a close one, but I think I'd like the Texans to cover and the Texans to win there in Houston.
They're playing in Texas, huh?
Yeah, they're playing in Houston.
Houston's got it. Yeah.
Did that change your answer?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
No.
All right, I just thought I'd ask,
Yeah.
All right, let's go to never. So let's go to Eagles -3 at Buccaneers. That's not I'm surprised the Eagles are even favored in this one.
I hate.
I digress.
If I was betting, I would stay away from this game because you just don't know if Philadelphia is going to be Philadelphia or they're going to be the same thing they've been for the last 4 weeks, which is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And they just might finally wake up for one game. I don't see them going past this round. But Baker's got a chance. I think Tampa Bay's got a puncher's chance. They're at home. In Philadelphia, it's probably going to be hotter than what they're used to. Humid, definitely humid. So, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take Tampa Bay.
Really? Everyone's talking about Jalen Hurts with the finger injury that he had. He came out last week. Mariota came in. But I don't think enough people are talking about Baker going into week 18. He had a rib injury. And then as the game goes on, he has an injury to, I believe, one of his legs. He had a heel injury or something like that to that effect. But he was limping all over the field. I saw him run and scramble for a play where he needed 3 yards, and it looked like the slowest 3 yards I've ever seen. I think I've seen you run faster than that, Pops, and that's saying a lot. But
I'm sure I have. Not that just recently, even probably.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen your 40-yard dash in a while. I think we're gonna have to take you out in time.
Yeah, I'm down to a 10-yard dash.
I'm down to a 10-yard dash.
Yeah.
No, I like Eagles in this one. Honestly, I think Eagles are gonna squeak this out with their experience.
Yeah.
I think Tampa Bay's kind of been getting by a little bit. The way the Eagles
got good defense. Tampa Bay does.
Yeah,
good defense.
But I just think they've been squeaking by the way the Eagles have been earlier in the year. And I think they might get exposed here this week. I could see Philadelphia with their experience pulling it together for one game, like you said. I don't see them going much further, but I do see them maybe pulling this one off right here.
I could see Philadelphia getting it together for one game, but I could also see Tampa Bay just humiliating them like everybody else has.
Yep.
Who knows? We'll see by the first half. That'll tell. That'll be the tell.
No, for sure. It's going to be a very close one. I mean, in Tampa Bay, going onto the road, that's asking a lot, but I think Philly might figure it out for one last week.
Yep.
All right. I think that just about covers it for this weekend. I mean, we're going to have some games coming up on Saturday, I believe they're playing.
Yep.
A few games on Saturday. Maybe we'll come back with another episode just to kind of later in this week to kind of go over the off season, what team got going on. Obviously the future of Belichick's in doubt. There's been a few head coaching firings around the league already. So very interesting off season already.
Yeah. And then I don't know why, but the NFL's got one game on Monday night. That's the Philadelphia game. Am I correct?
Yeah.
That's correct. That's not right, because then whoever wins is going to have a short week the next week, and that's just not fair. But that's the NFL,
Yep. Well, I just want to say, Pops, we'll end right there. I want to thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me on, son.
Always great talking ball with you. We lost David,
Heck
but it was
yeah.
always great talking ball with David too.
Heck yeah.
Until next time, everybody. Thank you for joining. If you stayed here to watch, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next time.